थैंक यू।
सो इस स्कीम को लॉन्च किया था सर्कुलर के थ्रू, सर्कुलर नंबर 12/2020, जिसमें कंपनी को फ्रेश स्टार्ट चांस दिया है डिफॉल्टिंग कंपनीज को। एज यू कैन सी माई स्लाइड, अर्लियर एमसीए एक स्ट्रिक्ट मोड में चल रहा था जिसमें हैवी पेनल्टीज लगा रहा था कंपनीज के ऊपर। समटाइम्स कंपनीज के जो डायरेक्टर्स होते थे उनको डिस्क्वालीफाई कर रहा था, और बहुत हर मंथ एक न्यूज आती थी, एमसीए के ऊपर होस्ट भी होती थी कि ये कंपनी को स्ट्राइक ऑफ कर दिया है नॉन फाइलिंग के लिए, या कुछ कंप्लायंसेस नहीं कंप्लीट की, या डिस्क्वालीफाई कर देते हैं डायरेक्टर को, जिसके कारण कंपनी की कंप्लायंस कॉस्ट जो थी वो इंक्रीज हो गई थी। उनको हर बारी हैवी फाइन्स देने पड़ रहे थे, और कई बारी कोर्ट्स में पेश होना पड़ा था डायरेक्टर्स को अपनी डिस्क्वालिफिकेशन रिमूव कराने के लिए। सो इसके कारण उनको बहुत प्रॉब्लम आ रही थी। तो इसी कारण कंपनी को इस फ्रेश स्टार्ट देने के लिए CFS 2020 को लॉन्च किया था, ताकि उनको एक फाइनल अपॉर्चुनिटी मिलेगी कि आप इसको अपनी कंपनी को, अपनी कंप्लायंस को सही कर लो और इसको प्रॉपर्ली गुड कर लो। अबाउट द कंपनी फ्रेश स्टार्ट स्कीम, एज मैंने आपको पहले बताया, ये एक गोल्डन अपॉर्चुनिटी है उनके लिए जिनकी नॉन कंप्लायंस हुई है, और उनको गुड करने के लिए, अनेबल करने के लिए कि वो अपनी पेंडिंग जितने भी फॉर्म्स हैं या जो भी नेसेसरी डॉक्यूमेंट्स हैं बिना एडिशनल फीस दिए फाइल कर दें, और जो भी इनको पेनल्टीज होगी वो सब वेव हो जाएगी। सर्कुलर नंबर 12/2020 को लॉन्च किया था, जिसमें 30 मार्च 2020 को MCA ने होस्ट किया है, जिसमें उन्होंने एप्लीकेबिलिटी करा दी है 1/4/2020 से। इसका पीरियड इन्होंने रखा है 1 अप्रैल 2020 से लेके 30 सितंबर 2020 तक। लेट्स सी द सर्कुलर फर्स्ट। As you can see, the circular dated 30th March 2020, subject है कंपनी फ्रेश स्टार्ट स्कीम 2020। और उन्होंने स्टार्टिंग में फर्स्ट पैराग्राफ में ये चीज लिखी है, इन द फर्दरेंस ऑफ मिनिस्ट्री सर्कुलर नंबर 11/2020 डेटेड 24 मार्च 2020। इसका मतलब है,
आई थिंक आपका सर्कुलर दिख नहीं रहा, आपको शेयर करना पड़ेगा। आप दिख रहा है, इट्स ओके, गोइंग गुड टू गो।
विजिबल है?
यस विजिबल।
जी। तो ये सर्कुलर को फर्दरेंस, मतलब इस सर्कुलर में उन्होंने स्पेशली वर्ड लिखा था कि इन फर्दरेंस ऑफ द मिनिस्ट्री सर्कुलर नंबर 11/2020 24 मार्च को जो उन्होंने लॉन्च किया था, जिसमें उन्होंने ये बताया था कि भी आप कंपनीज को हम एडिशनल एक बेनिफिट्स दे रहे हैं जो पुराने सर्कुलर में उन्होंने नहीं दी थी, उसको एडिशनल करने के लिए कंपनी ने इनको इस स्कीम के साथ लॉन्च किया है। आपको मैं 24 मार्च वाला सर्कुलर भी दिखाता हूँ, जिसमें उन्होंने, एक मिनट, सर्कुलर विजिबल है जी?
यस विजिबल।
हाँ जी। तो ये 24 मार्च को सर्कुलर में उन्होंने स्पेशल मेजर्स दिए थे कंपनी एक्ट के अंदर और LLP एक्ट के अंदर कोविड-19 आउटब्रेक के लिए के कारण। तो इसमें उन्होंने कुछ एडिशनल फीसिस की वेव ऑफ की थी कि कहा थे हम आपको इस पीरियड के अंदर कोई एडिशनल फीस नहीं लगाएंगे, आप कोई भी फॉर्म भरो, कोई भी आप डॉक्यूमेंट्स पेंडिंग है चाहे ड्यू डेट हो, या उन्होंने फिर उसके बाद बोर्ड मीटिंग की रिलैक्सेशन भी दे दी थी, कारों की एप्लीकेबिलिटी को भी डेफर कर दिया था, और इंडिपेंडेंट डायरेक्टर्स के लिए भी, मीटिंग के लिए भी उन्होंने डेफरमेंट दी थी, काफ़ी चीज़ें दी थी उन्होंने। अब उस चीज़ को और फर्दरेंस करने के लिए उन्होंने, मिनिस्ट्री ने 30 मार्च को एक और सर्कुलर लॉन्च किया, जिसमें इन्होंने स्कीम को एक बर्थ दिया, एक जन्म दिया इसके अंदर, जिसमें आप अपनी पेंडिंग फाइलिंग को कंप्लीट कर सकते हो। और पैराग्राफ में उन्होंने स्पेसिफिकली लिखा है, कंपनी एक्ट 2013 रिक्वायर्ड ऑल द कंपनीज टू मेक एनुअल स्टैट्यूटरी कंप्लायंस बाय फाइलिंग द एनुअल रिटर्न एंड फाइनेंशियल स्टेटमेंट्स। उसके अंदर उन्होंने आगे भी ये लिखा है कि कंपनी, मिनिस्ट्री को बहुत सारी रिप्रेजेंटेशन आ रही थी स्टेक होल्डर से कि हमें वन टाइम अपॉर्चुनिटी प्रोवाइड की जाए ताकि हम अपने कंप्लीट कर सके पेंडिंग कंप्लायंसेस को, नेसेसरी डॉक्यूमेंट्स को फाइल करके बिना एडिशनल फीस को दिए। तो इस स्कीम को लॉन्च करने का यही था कि कोविड-19 का कोई रीजन नहीं था, सिर्फ कोविड-19 के कारण पहले उन्होंने मेजर्स लिए थे, और ये स्कीम वैसे भी उन्होंने लॉन्च करनी थी क्योंकि बहुत सारे एडिशनल फीसिस बर्डन आ रहा था कंपनीज के ऊपर, और हर बारी कंपनीज को स्ट्राइक ऑफ करना पड़ रहा था या डिस्क्वालीफाई करने पड़ रहे थे डायरेक्टर। तो इस कारण ये स्कीम को लॉन्च किया है। तो इस स्कीम में अब हम एप्लीकेबिलिटी देखेंगे कि ये स्कीम को एप्लीकेबिलिटी कहाँ पे होती है। जैसे कि ये ऑन
Tarunji, I think there is one request that the audience wanted to speak you in English, so it's better कि आप majorly थोड़ा English में रहे, क्योंकि the people are nationwide, so might be they have a problem in Hindi, and so I think English is a better medium for everyone.
Right. So applicability of the scheme, let's see where it is applicable. It is applicable on all the active companies which has made the default. Now active company means the company is, the status is active, and it is not non-compliant, and it is not striked off company. So even active non-compliant company can avail the benefit of this scheme, because there one form mentioned in the scheme as well. You can file INC 22 active form without any additional fees. So you can file, even if you are non-compliant, first you have to file an active form, and then you can file all the other pending forms without any additional fees. Foreign companies are also covered in the scheme, although the definition in which they have mentioned in the circular is not giving the exact idea that whether it is applicable on a foreign company, but in the list of the forms which I will discuss in the further slide, there is mentioned some forms which is applicable only on foreign companies. So which shows that the ministry's intention is to cover those companies as well. Now let's talk about the non-applicability. Companies against which the proceeding for striking off has been initiated either by ROC or by company itself, they cannot apply in this scheme. They cannot take the benefit of the scheme. Either they have applied by their own, or they have applied or they have been strike off by the ROC due to non-filing or other reason. Next is company which next is companies which has been amalgamated or merged. They are also not covered in the scheme. Chandi, there's some noise.
Tarunji, before you proceed, I request you mute everyone's mic and keep your mic only on audio mode, and please request to mute everyone's mic, because I think there's a noise people are facing. I request everyone to please switch off your mics, please. The other people are facing problem in listening it. Kindly mute off your mics. Vijay Kumar ji, Kunal ji. Vijay Kumar ji, can you please mute your mic, please? And also there's one person in the name of TaxJin. Sir, can you please switch off your mic?
तरुण जी, आप होस्ट है, आप सबका माइक म्यूट कर सकते हैं.
Tarun ji, kindly mute off everyone's mic.
यहाँ पे ऑप्शन नहीं आ रही है कहाँ पे.
You can click on the chat. Mute all. You can click on the mute all. You can unmute me. You can keep everyone else mute.
Is it okay now?
Yes, it's okay.
Yeah. So we were discussing about the applicability of the scheme, and we were talking about the non-applicability. So companies against which the proceeding for striking off we have discussed earlier. Also, a company which has been amalgamated or merged, these companies cannot also not take the benefit of the scheme. And company for which application has been made to obtain dormant status under section 455. This we will discuss in further, that companies sometimes apply for the dormant status, that they're not filing, they have not commenced the business, or they're not active, so they can apply. And There's one more a non-applicability clause. There is vanishing company, which means they are vanishing from the.
webinar दे रहे हो?
Tarunji, I think TaxGen is someone else. The real TaxGen consultancy is my name. Can you please mute off TaxGen? Just the TaxGen. Yes, now it's okay.
Okay. So let's talk about the forms covered under the scheme. There are total 76 forms covered in the scheme, like annual filing forms, AOC 4, MGT 7, and other old Companies Act forms. And there are DPT 3, which was launched last year, even DIR 11 directors form, DIR KYC is also covered in this scheme, and DIR 3C, MGT 14 forms. This all list is available on the MCA portal. There are a lot of forms, ADT 1, ADT 3, INC 20A, INC 22A, and various other forms. I can show you some list. There are almost total, you can see there are 78 forms are covered, including LLP, and 10 forms are covered from the 1956 Act, and there are other forms covered from Companies Act 2013. And this list is available on the MCA portal as well. So next, let's proceed further. The forms which are not covered in the scheme, which is most important, SH7, which deals with the increase in authorized capital. There's CHT1, which deals with the registration of creation or modification of the charge. CHD4, which is dealing with satisfaction of the charge when you have completed, when you have ended the loan or completed the charge. You can file this form and get updated on your MCA. And there's CHD8, which is related to extension of time for filing or rectification. These 4 forms are not covered in this scheme, and you cannot take benefit of the relaxation of additional fees for these 4 forms. There's one more, CHD9. Next, talk about inactive company. So what is inactive company? Inactive company means the company which has there is no business commenced or no operations has been made, and no significant accounting transactions has been done in last 2 years. Significant accounting transaction does not include payment of ROC fees, allotment of the shares, and any payment required under the law. So these things are not covered in the transaction, significant accounting transaction, but other things are covered. Means you have not commenced a business, or you have not entered into any contract and not even started the operations. So you will be termed as inactive company. And other is and has even not filed the annual statement and financial statement for the said 2 years period. So for that company, inactive company, there's an option available. There are options available while filing the due documents. Like if you are filing under this scheme, you can simultaneously apply for dormant status by filing e-form MCS1. This form by which you can file. And you can take the option of applying for striking off. If you don't want to continue in the scheme, or if you don't want to continue your company, you can apply for the STK2 form, and you can get removed from the MCA and get relaxed from all the penalties which may occur in further. Dormant company, we have discussed earlier also. Dormant company means temporarily inactive. It means you are not active in the status in the eyes of the law. And any company which is incorporated for future project or intellectual property has no significant accounting transaction, or inactive company can apply for dormant status. It means like if you're an inactive company, like we have discussed, you can apply for the dormant status. And advantages of being a dormant company is like you don't need to file any annual filing forms. There is no requirement for holding an AGM even every year, and no requirement for holding any board meeting, which is minimum 4 in each in a full financial year. you are not allowed, you are not required to proceed with that.
Okay, so everyone is asking doubt over the chat box, like what about MSME form 1, what about director KYC? So I am going to tell you the protocol, like what we are going to follow is, so while filling up the Google form, we have already asked some questions to the attendees which are with Tarunji, and along with that I am jotting down your questions. So if you have any questions, you can just put it into the chat box and you'll get it answered very soon. Tarunji, you may kindly continue.
Sure. So procedure, let's talk about the procedure, how we will be dealing in this scheme. First of all, defaulting company will file the pending forms by paying the normal fees. Normal fees may depend upon the form. Like if I talk about 1 lakh share capital company, the annual filing form AOC4 and MDD7 will be costing 300 rupees per form. So you have to pay just normal fees, and there will be no requirement for filing any additional fees. You can have to file the form properly with the DSC and all the appropriate attachment you have to attach. After filing the form, you have to file e-form CFS 2020 within the period of the scheme. The scheme period is 1st April 2020 to 30th September 2020. After filing your all the pending forms, you have to file this form with giving all the details, auto-populate the schemes. The form is so good that whenever you will file in this period, the details will be auto-populated if you will file your SIN number. And then you have to file, after filing on the basis of declaration, the designated authority, means the ROC, will issue the immunity certificate to the applicant company. The immunity certificate means that it is provided that you will be relaxed from the prosecution and the proceeding related to that filed forms. Whichever the prosecution and penalty was applicable earlier, if you will file under this scheme, all the prosecution and penalties will be covered, and you will not be bothered by these penalties, and you will be given immunity certificate after that. If you can see the timeline, 1st April 2020 is the start of the scheme, and it will remain till 30th September 1920. In this period, the defaulting company will file the funding forms without any additional fees. And afterward, the defaulting company shall apply after 30 September to 31st March. This defaulting company will apply for the immunity certificate, and it will be granted by the ROC as in when it will be received. In the circular,
so this immunity certificate is compulsory for filing after we have opted for the CFSS scheme 2020.
Yes, it is applicable. It is compulsory if you have filed all the documents which was not filed earlier, and you have been given some relaxation from the additional fees, and you have to file this form so that you get immunity. Otherwise, if you will file the form and you will not file this e-form for granting of immunity certificate, then all the default which you have cleared, it will not be valid, and then ROC may initiate proceeding or penalty against you, and even they can impose additional fees as well.
Okay, there were two more questions, like whether MSME form 1 is covered in the CFSS 2020 scheme, and along with director KYC.
Yes, director KYC is covered, and MSME form, that form even cost, there is no fees for that form, first of all. So okay, even if you are not filing that form, that was just an information given to the ROC that these are my creditors which are registered under MSME. So there is no fees attached to that form. So this is not covered in that form, that scheme.
Oh, okay. So the answer for two questions is that whether director KYC is covered in CFSS. Yes, the director KYC is covered in CFSS, and MSME form 1 already didn't had any fee or any additional fee, so it is not it is one and the same thing whether you file it or not, because it is just for an informational purpose.
Yes.
Okay.
So this is the form e-form CFS 2020 which has been given in a circular as well. This is a snapshot. Although the form is not deployed on the portal, but you can see that there's a SIN number mentioned. You have to fill the SIN number and pre-fill. The company's name and email ID will be automatically auto-populated, and there's the SRN number, total number of SRNs will also be you have to mention how many SRNs, and you will have to pre-fill. And there's an SRN details will be auto-populated. Either it will be auto-populated or you have to fill, but you have to be very careful while filling this form, since if you will forgot to if you will not mention any other SRN in which you have filed for getting relaxation, then you will not get immunity for that. So if you have to be very careful while filing this form, you have to fill all the SRNs for which you have filed in this period, and which was covered in the CFS obviously, and then you have to take whether any appeal was filed against any notice issued or complaint filed under this act before the competent authority, before the commencement of the scheme. It means like if you have filed an appeal against a particular authority for a notice issued for, like suppose if your notice has been issued for non-filing of returns and you have filed an appeal or order has been passed, so you have to tick yes or no according to you or not applicable. If there is an appeal filed, first of all you have to withdraw that appeal and then file the forms under CFS 2020. This is the requirement specially mentioned, that if there is a pending appeal, you have to choose whether you want to withdraw that appeal or you want to continue with the appeal. If you want to withdraw that appeal, you have to withdraw and then file CFS 2020 and file all the forms which are pending. Otherwise, you can continue with your appeal. And there's one other column, whether any prosecution is pending in the court against the company audit officer. You have to select yes or no, and appropriate details you have to file as an attachment. Like if you have withdrawn the appeal, you have to attach the proof of withdrawal of the appeal and other details, and you have to mention in the prosecution if it is pending against you, you have to attach also in detail as well. This form has to be signed by the director, and designation has to be mentioned, and DSC has to be applied. There is no requirement of practicing professional to file this form. You can file by the director itself. So this is the format of immunity certificate which will be granted after filing all the forms and applying for the CFS form. This is a certificate. As you can see, the certificate will mention all the SRNs and the form number, date of filing and date of event, and normal fees which have been charged. Total fees will also be mentioned in the certificate, and it will be issued by the ROC. And after getting the certificate, you will be relieved from all the immunities. Like although the participant have asked about the director KYC, so I'm giving it again. As per the MCA's advisory, DIN holders which has been marked deactivated due to non-filing of director KYC or KYC web. This is the difference between the KYC and the KYC web. That the KYC web was launched last year, in which if you have already filed the KYC for the previous directors, or you can file through the KYC web by entering the DIN number and submitting the details through OTP based. So both the forms, both the KYC web and DRE KYC have been covered. And even the company's status whose has been mentioned as non-compliant, means they have not filed the active form. They can also file this active form as per the circular, and they will not be charged any additional fees. Like for the KYC, there is 5,000 per DIN, and for the active form it is 10,000. So you will not be charged this fees, and you will be saved from this. You have to file the form, give all the attachments properly, and then you will be relieved from all the additional fees. There are certain FAQs about the scheme which I have framed out. So what is the time limit for filing the form? The CFS 2020, the scheme is in force from 1st April 2020 to 30th September 2020. Form can be filed only after filing all the pending forms, and the time allowed for this form is 6 months from the end of the scheme. It means if you will file the form, all the pending forms, you have to file this CFS form after filing all the pending forms, and there is the last date for the filing form is 30th March 2021. You can file this form till 30th March 2021. Is this scheme applicable to LLP also? no, this scheme, there is a separate scheme for LLP settlement scheme, which will cover all the pending compliances and all additional fee relaxation for, related to LLPs. Is there any fees for filing CFS 2020? No fees is not required to be filed for the form. Just you have to file the normal forms, fees for all the pending forms, and there will be no fees for this form. Is the scheme applicable on Nidhi companies? Yes, Nidhi companies are also covered in this scheme. They can also avail the benefit. The company has made some mistake in filing annual forms of other forms. Will the CFS grant me the immunity to cure the mistake? CFS, first of all, CFS is giving relaxation for filing belated forms only. So even if you if you filed in the previous year for a particular form, say AOC4, and you have mentioned wrong detail in that form, you can cure that that mistake by only applying to the ROC for the either cancelling SRN and filing again, or you can approach the ROC for correction of this form. But CFS is not made for that curement of these mistakes. It is giving only relaxation from the belated forms for the additional fees. What if the pending forms are not filed within the duration? In case forms are not by the end of the duration, not filed by the end of the duration, then such forms will be subject to additional fees, penalty and prosecution. As I've already told you, if you forgot to file the forms by the 30th September, then you will not be given any relaxation and there will not be any extension of this scheme as per the intention of the MCA, as they have specifically mentioned golden opportunity and one-time opportunity. So you will not be given any relaxation after. What if the forms are filed, but CFS 2020 e-form is not filed? If you have filed all the pending forms for which you are filing under the scheme, but you forgot to file the CFS e-form in which you have to mention all the SRN, then the immunity certificate will not be granted, and then the relaxation of additional fees cannot be availed. So such companies will have to pay again the additional fees and the penalties and the prosecutions, and there will be no relaxation from that. In the end, thank you.
Okay, so Tarunji, there were some questions which were asked in the chat box. I want they should be discussed for more clarity of it. So there's one question with regard to MSME Form 1, which is governed by for which penalty is governed by Section 405 subsection 3. It says that 25,000 penalty shall be levied if the form is not filed. So the doubt was that whether MSME 1 is covered in that scheme. I think that answer has been before provided by you. But what if the person files that form now? Whether he'll be liable for the fees, for the penalty?
Till now, many companies have filed after the due date, and there's not been any action from the ROC. But yes, the fine penalty will be leviable afterwards whenever the ROC will start thinking about that.
Okay, means the companies are filing till date that MSME 1 form after the due date, but till now no penalty has been levied by MCA.
Because the form is for only the information purpose. So ROC has not initiated any particular penalty on a particular company that they have filed by late by the due date. But yes, there will be penalty imposed on that companies.
Okay, so I think Praveen Sharma ji's question has been answered.
I can even add. There's a list of forms I have already discussed. So in this list of form also they have not mentioned this form MSME. So which gives the attention clear.
Okay. So second question was, what are the circumstances under which immunity shall not be applicable?
1 minute. What are circumstances which the immunity shall not be applicable? If you're not filing the form, if you're filing if you're looking after the form which is not covered in the scheme, then immunity will not be granted. If you are filing a particular form which is covered in the scheme, then you will be 100% given relaxation from all the penalties and everything, and you will given immunity from all these penalties and prosecution. There will be zero penalty imposed on that company. But like you have to file the correct information, that is for sure.
However, I was of the view that earlier this circular will be applicable to filing this form. No, sir. I think Praveen ji, there is a specified list on which CFSS is applicable, in which there are a lot of forms mentioned, and that doesn't include MSME Form 1. So what our take on it is that other companies are filing it and no such penalty has been till date, and it is absolutely your call on upon filing upon that form or not, because the date has already been passed. There is one question: any immunity for directors disqualified under section 164(2)?
No, there is no immunity for that portion, but they have to apply for the separately for the court, high court, and for getting the disqualification removed. There is no disqualification relaxation given in the scheme.
Okay, Shubham ji, I think your question is answered that there is no relaxation.
But you can apply, but you can file all the pending forms. But you have to make sure that all the directors are active at that date for that company. You can file all the pending forms for that company.
Okay, means the forms can be filed for getting the disqualification removed. The director has to approach High Court to get that removed.
Yeah, but like I have already told you, you have to approach the High Court first. You have to get the immunity, the disqualification removed. Then the DIN will be statusably active, and then only the company will be able to file the form.
Okay. So I think Shubham ji, your question is answered that first you have to get that disqualification removed, and after that you will be able to file all the forms over the portal. Is there any other questions you want to ask? I think Tarun ji, I have shared one list of questions with you. You have already discussed that in FAQ.
Yes. I have almost discussed. Let me see if there is one pending or not. Yeah, the question is this company also applicable on the company whose registration cancelled due to dismissing company? This scheme is applicable to all those companies, but if their registration is cancelled or they have applied for the for that strike off, then this is not applicable.
Okay, there's one more question by Praveen ji. Why the government is saving companies only, not the directors who are disqualified? I know this, it is in individual capacity, however it is really hardship.
Why government is saving the company only, not director who disqualified? See sir, the ROC's intention is to give, even in the last year also, in 2018, government has launched e-court scheme for this disqualification removal of the directors. So they have already been given the chance to remove their disqualification, but if they have got the disqualification after that scheme, the government is not thinking of giving any relaxation to them. They have to apply in High Court or ROC for getting the disqualification removed. But yes, they are obviously they are favoring. They are not favoring. They are looking after the company, giving them a fresh start to the company. So I think they will also think about giving relaxation to directors in future. But right now they have to approach High Court.
So there's one more question with respect to the appeal thing, that if appeal is filed against any prosecution launched or proceeding for penalties imposed or initiated, proceeding for penalty. If any appeal is filed, how these companies will be, whether these companies will be available to avail CFSS 2020? Like अगर किसी ने appeal file कर रखी है against the order, तो उनको पहला, I guess you have already told in
I've already told,
they have to withdraw the appeal.
You have to withdraw the appeal if they have to see whether it is beneficial for them to continue with the appeal or withdrawing. They can withdraw the appeal and then file all the pending forms and file the immunity certificate. Okay,
so there's one more question: process of strike-off application in the scheme.
there is no process given in the scheme for striking off, but they have given an option that you can, if you are dormant, if you're an inactive company, you can apply for a dormant status or apply for the strike off. If you're asking about the strike off procedure, then we can discuss another webinar for the striking off. But right now in this scheme, there is no process given in this for striking off.
Okay, so there is one appreciation from CS Sachin Jain ji, like it's a great presentation and the best part was the whole session was to the point. Appreciate. Can we get this PPT? Yes,
sure.
We'll share this PPT in the WhatsApp group. Tarunji will share this PPT in the WhatsApp group, and if you have any doubt or any query with respect to it, you are free to ask. The group will be open, and we are welcoming everyone for a healthy discussion. As soon as the discussion is healthy, we don't have any problem keeping the group open. And if there is any other question you want us to answer, and we can proceed with it. So first of all, I also want to tell you that this was our second webinar. The first webinar was on e-Waybill, but the video hasn't been hosted anywhere. We have the video, and it discussed about the presentation and applicability of e-Waybill and under what circumstances e-Waybill should be generated or not. We have that video as well. So if you want us to deliver such webinars on a continuous basis, you can just request us. We'll put up a form, and on the basis of votes, we'll decide what next webinar we'll be doing it. And if any one of you is interested in writing articles, you can post it on the TextGen website. With due credit will be provided to you. The last is auditor. Can auditor sign the balance sheet of previous year filed under C? So Tarunji, there is one question from Praveen ji, that can auditor sign the balance sheet of previous years to be filed under this scheme?
Yes, they can sign. They have to mention the date, but if the company has not held any AGM, then there will be a problem. It will be problematic for both the auditor and the company if if the AGM has not been held and they are signing right now, and then they have to apply for the extension of AGM, and that is a lengthy process.
Okay, so that means until and unless the accounts are not finalized in the AGM, the auditor cannot sign it, and it will be problem for both the company as well as auditor, because it becomes unprofessional to sign the balance sheet without AGM and without approval. So that would, I think we won't recommend it that you should take benefit under this scheme.
Or
what are your views, Tarunji?
They can file, they can take the help of the CS, but they have to apply. They have to file. They have to sign get the company's balance sheet signed by the auditor on the respective dates. If they can do so, it will be beneficial. Otherwise, it will be problematic. I think they should get it signed on the due date itself.
Okay. So there's one more question. I think I can answer this one. Can a part-time COP holder can attach DSC to various forms of ROC? No, you have to be a CA in practice. If I'm not wrong, Tarunji.
Yes. There it is, especially in chartered accountant and
full-time practice. In full-time practice, you have to sign those forms. Anyone in part-time practice or holding a part-time certificate is not eligible to sign any form, any certificate, any balance sheet, or any document there to providing certification. Is there any other question you want to be answered? Okay, I think we are done for the day. First of all, I want to thank Tarunji who took out their precious time for us to deliberate on the topic about company fresh start scheme, and I really thank Tarunji for his vast knowledge and in the company law compliance. I hope everyone else's question has been answered. Over to you, Tarunji.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone, for joining in this presentation, and Definitely, if there is any question, you can ask in the WhatsApp group, and you can even mail to the TechSgen, and we can answer that queries as well. So thank you for the day.
Okay, thank you everyone for joining. Wish you everyone a very happy Mother's Day, and hope you are fit, fine, and everyone is great. And I'll be ending this meeting. Tarunji, kindly please end the meeting.
Sure.